Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I bring you warm greetings from Pope Francis, who has sent me here to say and wishes much that something very good could come out from these meetings. Pope Francis, as you know, visited the United Nations just a few days ago, on September 25, where he said, among others, where he emphasized that there is a true right of the environment. And this true right of the environment cannot be separated from the question of social justice. Because he said both the environment and the ranks of people who are excluded and are poor are both victims of a bad exercise of power. I'm sure you have heard of this document called Laudato Si, on the care of our common home. Thank you. And I'm very glad that so many people have read it, and I'm sure the Pope is very glad. At the heart of this document is the question, what kind of world do we want to leave to future generations? This question arises from an observation that today the Earth, our sister, mistreated and abused, is lamenting, and its groans join those of all the worlds forsaken and discarded. And Pope Francis invites all of us to listen to these groans, to listen to these appeals, urging each and every one of us to an ecological conversion, and that is a change of direction by taking on the beauty and responsibility of the task of caring for our common home. At the heart of the process of conversion and hope in a renewed future, Pope Francis puts the concept of integral ecology. He says, when we speak of the environment, what we really mean is a relationship existing between nature and the society which lives in it. Nature cannot be regarded as something separate from ourselves or as a mere setting in which we live. We are part of nature, included in it, and thus in constant interaction with it. It is no longer possible to find partial answers to big questions. We must try to study and face this whole crisis that we are faced. He said, we are not facing two crises. We are faced with just one complex crisis that is both environmental and social. Strategies, therefore, for solutions to our problems demand an integrated approach to combating poverty, restoring the dignity of the underprivileged, and protecting the environment. The Pope affirms that the human environment and the natural environment deteriorate together and vice versa. We cannot adequately combat environmental degradation unless we attend to the causes related to the human and social degradation. In fact, the deterioration of the environment and of society affects the most vulnerable people on the planet. Both everyday experience and scientific research show that the gravest effects of all attacks on the environment are suffered by the poorest. Many times, Pope Francis has warned forcefully and repeatedly against what he calls a globalization of indifference that could result when our interrelationships are not inspired by a globalization of solidarity. Economic and social exclusion results when globalization is detached from fair and inclusive national and international policies and market forces that are not regulated by policies to contain greater inequalities. The Pope asks us that we should all be in dialogue to find solutions. The Pope wants a positive contribution to discussions at every level, including at the 2015 Parliament of World Religions, with a more immediate purpose to build momentum towards reaching a global climate deal in Paris and the long-term vision of helping us to interiorize, so to speak, love and care for our common home. This is a particular challenge to all of us. Yes, we have a problem, but not all is doomed. All is not lost, because if it were all were lost, we would not be here, right? While the earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth, as the Holy Father said, there is also an increased awareness growing nowadays of concern for the environment. So based on this observation, we cannot but be hopeful on the possibility of reversing the trend. Humanity still has the ability to work together in building our common home. So although our common home is in serious disrepair, we are always hopeful that we can right what was wrong, we can right what is wrong, and that there is always a way that we can redirect our steps. And no other can redirect our steps except us and ourselves alone. And that is why the biggest single challenge that can determine our individual and common response to a crisis in integral ecology is not scientific and not even technological, but rather it is within ourselves. It is within our minds and hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to redirect our steps has passed, but it is never too late to take it now. Let's take it now on the path that we must take, that path that leads to achieving in Paris something beautiful for our common home and for the entire humanity today and for all generations to come. Thank you very much.